In 2016, down the stretch in the general election, it was quite a nail-biter in the sense that Trump was out there saying things that could win him the election. And he ultimately did win the election, right? I mean, we've pointed this out before, but he was campaigning in all the Rust Belt states that Hillary was not going, famously didn't go to some of those states. He released a closing ad where he basically hammered Hillary for corruption and went after the establishment, and there was a populist tone to it that was very clear, right? He also very famously hammered away on the outsourcing of jobs, acting like he was going to save them. He didn't, by the way. He ended up outsourcing 200,000 jobs under his watch. But you get the point. He was running a good campaign. And, on foreign policy too, for example, he made a point of hammering Hillary and hammering the establishment for getting us into the war in Iraq. I mean, very famously in the primary debate, he railed against Jeb Bush because his brother got us into the war in Iraq, right? So he had moments like that all the time. In 2024, you don't see this kind of stuff. The tone is, if anything, the exact opposite. You see him being more hawkish, and you see him being more corrupt. There's been a lot of reporting on his little get-togethers at Mar-a-Lago with various billionaires where he basically tells them straight up with a quid pro quo, you give me more money and I'll give you, your tax cuts and your subsidies and whatever. But this one right here may take the cake. So he's asked a question about Israel, and listen to the answer he gives.
Go ahead. Does that part make peace easier or more difficult?
I think it makes it easier.
Why is that?
You're going to talk to Prime Minister Netanyahu about it?
He's called me, yes.
What was that conversation?
He's called me.
So just real quick, I know it's kind of hard to hear with the plane in the background, but he's saying that he has spoken to Netanyahu recently, okay? That also is kind of concerning. You're not the president. You're not the president. And if you're trying to conduct foreign policy when you're not the president, that's very concerning.
I've spoken. I'm going to speak to him probably now.
What are you going to tell him?
Well, look, he's doing a good job. Biden is trying to hold him back. Just so you understand, Biden is far superior to the VP. He's trying to hold him back, and he probably should be doing the opposite.
He's saying Biden is trying to hold Netanyahu back. Quote, and he should probably be doing the opposite. All right, here we go. One more time.
He's trying to hold him back, and he probably should be doing the opposite, actually. I'm glad that Bibi decided to do what he had to do, but it's moving along pretty good. Everything's moving along.
I'm glad that Bibi decided to do what he had to do. It's moving along pretty good. Look, we all get rightly frustrated listening to Kamala do her little both sides tap dance, right? I mean, we've heard it a million times. Oh, Israel has a right to defend themselves, and October 7th was horrific, and we'll always make sure Israel has a right to defend themselves. But at the same time, we're in favor of a two-state solution, and Palestinians need to have human rights as well. So she does her little both sides tap dance in the midst of a brutal annihilation campaign and a genocide, right? Call it what it is. Trump's position is stop with the both sides stuff and just come out 100% in support of Netanyahu. Stop trying to hold him back. Let him finish the job, as he said before, finish the job, and everything's moving along very nicely. I mean, Jesus Christ. This sounds like fucking Himmler touring the gas chambers. Everything's moving along very nicely here. How many did you shove in there today? How many did you shove in there? How many can you fit at once? That's what this is, bro. Uses Palestinian as a slur. Says any Democrat who says any kind word about Palestinians, they're an agent of Hamas. He said Chuck Schumer is an agent of Hamas. He's broadcasting he wants to go further. Remember, this is the guy who let Israel illegally annex the Golan Heights and recognized it. He moved the embassy to Jerusalem, right? He did the Abraham Accords, which helped lead to October 7th. The whole point of the Abraham Accords was a giant middle finger to Palestinians and say, nobody's coming to help you, bro. Nobody's coming to save you. We're going to work around you. And by the way, we're going to bribe the Arab states around you. And they're going to look the other way. That was the whole point. And then that helped lead to October 7th. He also ripped up the Iran agreement, which helped lead to a war posture against them. In every way, he's broken the region, and now he's saying the problem is that Netanyahu's not going far enough. That's the problem. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Now, by the way, this is an important point that many people missed, but I wanted to show you, right? We discussed this before. Miriam Adelson, now at the time it was just speculation. That like, oh, the word on the street is she's offering Trump $100 million, but only if Trump allows Israel to annex the West Bank. That was word on the street, but it hadn't happened yet. Well, guess what? Now it's happened. Miriam Adelson did give Trump $100 million, I believe, to one of his PACs. And the idea behind that is, hey, I'll give you $100 million to help you win the election, but you need to allow Israel to annex the West Bank. Quote, Adelson's spokesperson earlier this year denied a report that she conditioned support for Trump on his public endorsement of Israeli annexation of the West Bank. Do not believe that for a second. They denied it, but there was reporting on it, and it's almost certainly true. But a top confidant, Rabbi Shmuley Psychotíc, whatever, told the New York Times she's against the establishment of a Palestinian state. Of course she is. All these people are against the establishment of a Palestinian state. Every one of them. So this is where we are. This is where we are. You have the both sides rhetoric as they arm and fund the genocide, right? And then you have Trump promising to go further, being bribed to go further, saying things like they shouldn't be trying to hold Netanyahu back. So how many more weapons do you want to give them? How much more money do you want to give them? How big do you want the war in the Middle East to get? And make no mistake about it, Netanyahu wants us to fight his wars for him, wants us to go to war against Iran for Israel. That's what he wants. Does it look like Trump is going to buck him? Does it look like Trump is going to disagree with him? No, he's broadcasting it. He's saying his psychotic murder spree needs to go further. So very, very different vibes from 2016, isn't it? When he was going against the Iraq war, it was a big fat mistake. It was a beauty. People make mistakes. That one was a beauty. We've come a long way from that. Now he has both Washington brain and QAnon brain, which is probably the worst possible mix you could get. But that's where we are with him. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.